how did the Eccentric Club, was it always a poker club, or was it?
Yeah, well,
What were the rules there? What was special about it?
well, the rules were that the secretary, whom I was not allowed to write letters. The treasurer, who was Jim Heffernan at the time, he wasn't allowed to touch the money. And Terry Rogers was the boss. That was the rules. And whether Terry was right or wrong, he was right.
What about when Noel Furlong won the World Series of Poker? Did Terry think that he was responsible for that, or?
Terry had no doubt in his mind that it was because of him that Noel Furlong won the World Series. And Terry was never as happy, I'd say, for anything in his life as seeing Noel Furlong win the World Series of Poker.
Because it was an Irish player.
Yeah, no, because it was Noel Furlong and Irish. And it was just probably the biggest thing in his life. And possibly the only time, or one of very few times, he probably got a bit drunk afterwards. Himself and Furlong went down to a restaurant just on their own. I wasn't there. I was ill and I went back. I left home, or left for home the day before the final.
Did you?
Noel wanted me to stay. He says, "I'll pay for your flight." I said, "No, I have to go." I was so ill, so I just had to go.
How many times did you go to Vegas? Did you used to go every year?
Every year, yeah. I'd say I was there certainly 10 times, if not more. We used to do the World Series, and then when Terry ran the Eccentric charity tournament in the Golden Nugget, which was unheard of and hasn't been done since. It was
unheard of because there was an Irishman running a tournament in Las Vegas.
Yeah, yeah. An independent rather than a casino. Whereas the Golden Nugget were involved in it. Eric Drake and Terry were very good friends. And it was good crack. And Lorenzo Fuscardi won a tournament out there. He beat Robert Turner, which was a good result for us.
He was Irish.
Lorenzo, yeah.
You said the second time you went to Vegas, you ended up in jail.
Yeah.
How did it happen?
Well, I wasn't guilty. Everybody says that, but I wasn't. That particular year, I wasn't working for Terry. I wasn't with him at all. Like, we were there as friends, but I wasn't involved with his business end of it. And I was staying in Golden Nugget and he was working in Binion's. So I was just about to go to the pool and I said, I'll go over and see how the book is going. And when I got there, I sat down outside the rail and I said, Terry, how's it going? But it's all right, not bad, he says. So suddenly he gets busy and he said to me, he says, listen, you write out that bet for Mrs. So-and-so, you know her and that. So I wrote out the bet. So by writing out the bet, I was guilty by implication sort of business. They would have said I was guilty because they would have found my handwriting. However, we were arrested for illegal gambling in Vegas.
And the police came into the casino?
Yep. And we were brought away in squad cars, handcuffed and put in jail. And Terry and Seamus Farrell and a guy from New York, there was 4 of us in total, were locked up. Terry and the other 2 were there for 11 hours, but I was there for 12 hours. The reason I was there for 12 hours was because Eric Drake and Benny Binion didn't realise that I was in jail because they knew I wasn't involved, you know. Yeah. So Frank Cruz Callahan, a very good friend of mine, went down and bailed me out. It was a good experience. I wouldn't like to do it again, but it was certainly a great experience.
You didn't get prosecuted?
No, there was no. The charges were dropped after 12 months, I think. But that was one thing about Terry. After that, he was a little bit cold on Vegas. He didn't go the next year. I reckon he was just a little bit afraid they might catch him.
Let's go a little more forward to the present. The Irish Open, it stopped, and then you were responsible for bringing it back in a large part.
That's right.
When was that?
It was 5 years ago, and the way poker was going in Europe 4 or 5 years ago, I decided there had to be an Irish Open. Now, a few people had tried it and it failed, and I went to Terry Rogers and I said, Terry, I'm going to run an Irish Open. So he says, yeah, why don't you? You should. So I approached a few people who had the facilities, and one of them was the Marion Casino Club, which was the jackpot at the time. And we came to an agreement that we'd run the Irish Open. And it's beginning to build back up to what it used to be. And it's one of the main events in Europe now. And this year we're expecting about 400,000 in prize money.
And that was because of your reputation recently as tournament director or as a player, or?
Yes, I suppose a little bit of all. You know, I was always a player. I was lucky enough a few times, and at one stage I used to win a big tournament every 4 years. That was the way it worked, and I was waiting for the 4th year to see which tournament I was going to win. But then recently I won in Helsinki, and I won in Walsall, and there were 2 big tournaments.
What's the biggest tournament you ever won? You won a big one at the Vic?
Yeah, that was the European Championship. I was I must have been 101 shot in that particular tournament, but I finished up 3-handed against Devilfish and Surrender and myself. And I have to, I'd say I'll boast by saying that I played the best poker I ever played in my life. They didn't count that night. It was just one of those things. And that was the biggest tournament I won. It was 44,000 sterling.
You've been in gambling all your life, but you've also, it seems like, managed to keep yourself. Well, have you been potless?
I have, many times. And without very good friends, I wouldn't have made it. I had a very good bank manager friend, and without him, I would have gone under. And Frank Cruz Callahan, without him, I would have gone down. So they were 2 particular people who were part of me surviving. And then I was lucky enough in the last few years that I've been able to hold on to it.
Do you think that's more common for the Irish scene, people helping each other as poker goes or gambling?
It used to be. I don't think it's so anymore because there's too many people with their hands out. Well, there's so much poker going on now that people are playing 5 nights a week. At that time we played once, twice, 3 times maximum. And there was always people there to help you if you ran out of readies. I'll tell you a good story about the 1997 in the Vic. I wasn't going too well at that time either, but the day before, on a Friday, my brother phoned me, who was a bookmaker, Edward, and he says, I'm stuck for Clark tomorrow at the races. And I said, I can't, I'm playing. I'm going to London. He said, what are you doing in London? I said, I'm playing a poker tournament. He said, you're only wasting your money. So when I came back with the 44k on the Monday, he's never said anything about poker ever since. So there's a lot of luck attached to it, but you make your own luck.
Has it been good to you then, gambling?
It has. Well, I no longer regard myself as a gambler because I don't play cash games. I don't play with Daisy and Kaluki. I just play tournaments, and I'm a fair tournament player. I'm not the best, but I have plenty of moves.
Why so many good Irish players?
Most Irish people, certainly in the country, always played cards. Now, whether it be poker or 25s or whist, it was a competitive game. Like whist is or 25s is nearly a stupid game, but it's the most competitive game if you're playing against people who play 2 nights a week, and they will kill you for 10 cents, and that's all they'll be playing for. So from that point of view, we're very competitive card players.
You won an award last year, Poker Personality of the Year for all of Europe. What did it mean?
It meant everything to me. In actual fact, like, people don't believe me, but that award was the ultimate. Poker Personality of the Year of Europe. Like, nobody even imagined that a guy from Ireland could get that.
What about the future? What goals do you have now as far as poker goes, and what do you see for poker?
Well, poker's getting so big now. It's hitting the roof. I'm going back playing on television in a month's time. I played 2 tournaments, and I expect to win both of them. Or I expect to get to the final table of both of them. I don't expect to win both of them, but I'll be surprised if I'm not at the final table.
So winning $1 million at this stage, that would still be a good goal. That would still be something.
That'd be huge. I'll be able to buy a new car then. Yeah, it wouldn't. The money probably is not that important to me anymore. However, money is important to most poker players. But I only play about 12 tournaments a year. So if I win one for $1 million, it just means that I have to give it to some of the family or something. Most of it.
And the glory.
Like, what do you do with it? I'm getting on, as people say. I'm getting old, which I agree with. I'm 63 now, so things are moving on. But Frank Cruz-Callan is 72, so I can keep playing, hopefully, for another 9 years. I enjoy the buzz of poker tournaments. I enjoy beating people. I don't enjoy people beating me, but I'm a good loser as well as a good winner.
Liam, thanks very much.
Okay, Jesse. You're welcome.
Good luck.